Navigating 21st Century Multimodal Textual Environments, a case study of digital literacy. Presenters Dr. Muriel Wells and Damien Lyons.
In the 21st century, young people have the opportunity to create texts that were unimaginable for previous generations. Today's children live and learn while immersed in a technological world that is fast-paced and constantly in a state of change. As technology becomes more and more accessible and specifically marketed to children of the 21st century, educators are challenged to reconsider the literacy skills required to be successfully and safely literate, and the repertoire of literacy pedagogies teachers must have to effectively engage these young people in learning. While there is much evidence to suggest that schools and teachers are not all meeting this challenge, there are some inspiring examples in which schools, communities and teachers are taking up the challenge. This paper presents one case study which is explored through a 21st century literacy framework that allows us to interpret and analyse the multimodal texts and the processes students use in their creation. Attention is paid to how the case study teacher creates meaningful learning experiences and opportunities for them to create and interact with multimodal communication environments, both within and beyond the school. The ability to successfully engage in literate activities is crucial for social, educational and work lives in the 21st century. While print-based texts are still important forms of literacy, young people now have the opportunity to create and interact with texts in ways that were unimaginable for previous generations. Today's children are growing up immersed in a technological world that is fast-paced and in a constant state of change. As well as hard copy print-based texts, literacy now comprises digital texts in a range of forms, and visual literacy has become an important facet of the literacy landscape. This has led educational policymakers to acknowledge the changing nature of literacies in the new Australian curriculum documents that better reflect what is meant to be literate in and for the 21st century. Enacting literacy learning in and for the 21st century requires informed pedagogical knowledge and skills and contextual understanding of the world children live and learn in. Within this paper, we offer a brief overview of the Australian curriculum, locating it within 21st century learning discourse. We then introduce and define digital literacy, which is discussed within a broader context of literacy in and for the 21st century. Finally, we present, interpret and analyse one case of a young student's creation of a digital text in a movie modality.
The Melbourne Declaration acknowledges major changes in the world that are placing new demands on Australian curriculum. While this paper does not intend to discuss all the changes in the Declaration, we feel that three changes identified within the Declaration are significant to this paper. Specifically, the Declaration states that rapid and continuing advances in information and communication technologies are changing the ways people share, use, develop and process information and technology. In this digital age, young people need to be highly skilled in the use of ICT. While schools already employ these technologies in learning, there is a need to increase their effectiveness significantly over the next decade. It also goes on to say that literacy and numeracy and knowledge of key disciplines remain the cornerstone of schooling for young Australians, and that schooling should also support the development of skills in areas such as social interaction, cross-disciplinary thinking and the use of digital media, which are essential in all 21st century occupations. What these two changes identified within the Melbourne Declaration suggests is that teaching and learning in Australian schools must evolve to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world that is digitally literate. The world our children live and learn in has changed and will continue to change at rapid pace. The internet has partly contributed to the facilitation of this rapid change. Children can access and contribute in ways that were simply unimaginable even a decade ago. It is now possible for children to create and publish movies, photos, contribute to blogs, access specialised information, ask specific questions. The teacher is no longer the person with all the knowledge. That role has long passed. Teachers have a different role, which sees them still guiding and enabling students, but in different ways.
Literacy in and for the 21st century in Australian curriculum perspective. To understand literacy in and for the 21st century does not mean abandoning notions of traditional literacy or conventions of the English language. Arguably, this is a common misconception and often produces heightened tensions within education and the wider community. Literacy in and for the 21st century is about understanding how we use different mediums to create different versions of meaning. Lee Crockett suggests that the skills we learn to read, write and communicate have changed. In the age of multimedia, hypertext, blogs and wikis, reading is no longer just a passive linear activity that only deals with text. Today, it's essential that all of our students have a wide range of skills beyond those that were needed in the 20th century, a range that includes the skills needed to function within a rapidly changing digital society. Literacy in and for the 21st century is about equipping students with a range of skills and behaviours to interact and create meaning. It is about ensuring criticality that is practiced and developed so that students can both understand the world around them and contribute to it in informed ways. Students become literate as they develop the knowledge, skills and dispositions to interpret and use language confidently for learning and communicating in and out of school and for participating effectively in society. Literacy involves students in listening to, reading, viewing, speaking, writing and creating oral, print, visual and digital texts and using and modifying language for different purposes in a range of contexts.
Digital literacy has changed the way students create meaning by allowing them to convey meaning through sound, image, video and text to a wide audience. As Buckingham says, the internet, computer games, digital video, mobile phones and other contemporary technologies provide new ways of mediating and representing the world and of communicating. Digital literacy is changing not only the way children engage with their world, but also the way they learn and understand their world. As technology becomes more and more accessible in the 21st century, educators are challenged to reconsider the literacy skills required to be successfully and safely literate, and the repertoire of literacy pedagogies teachers must have to effectively engage these young people in learning. While there is evidence to suggest that schools and teachers are not all meeting this challenge, there are some inspiring examples in which schools, communities and teachers are taking up the challenge. This paper presents one such example, which we explore through a 21st century literacy lens.
Metcalfe makes the point that despite children's engagement with contemporary community practices out of school, research shows provisions and opportunities to work with moving images and media in the early years classrooms is limited. The following is one example of digital literacy in practice.
This example of digital literacy happened in a grade 1-2 classroom. The student created a movie as part of an early years literacy program in a primary school situated in a large regional city. The teachers were involved in a 3-year program of professional learning with the goal of personalising learning for students in the 21st century. The program is titled Supporting Teachers as Action Researchers, or STAR is the acronym. Within the overall goal of personalising learning, the school selected to focus on one of 3 themes each year. The themes were the infusion of higher order thinking, formative assessment for learning, and information and communication technologies. In their first year in the STAR program, our case study school selected the infusion of ICT as their theme. For further information about that, you might like to look at the paper by Wells in 2013. In this presentation today, we focus on the work carried out by children in grade 1-2. The children were approximately 7 to 8 years old. A grade 2 teacher described their work in the STAR program in the following way. She said, "Our 1-2 area consists of 2 classes with 24 students in each. As a junior unit, we looked at ways of incorporating a unit entitled Lights, Camera, Action, which fell under the design and technology strand, with literacy and with building links with parents. Our aim is to engage students and parents through the use of ICT to assist in providing constructive feedback to enhance literacy and ICT skills. We used an online program called Extra Normal, which allows students to design and create their own movies. It provides students with the choice of characters, settings, sound effects, movements, voices and themes. Students type out a script which is transformed into a movie, which can then be embedded into a website. The school decided to use EduBlogs as their web space provider. It allowed teachers and students to upload a variety of media and to post comments, which could be monitored by the teacher. Each class designed a rubric which highlighted the skills and strategy needed to make a successful movie, and students filled in a movie contract that placed the responsibility for the writing with them, for the writing and the completion of the script in a given time frame. For this presentation, we are showing you a movie that was created by one of the children in the grade 2. The images on this slide show the characters who act in the movie. The movie runs for 1 minute and 43 seconds. To set the scene, we have a queen and a cowboy standing inside a room with furniture and paintings on the walls. Grass on what looks like a running track can be seen through the full-length windows. The queen is wearing a crown and the cowboy is wearing a big Texan-style cowboy hat. Transcript of the movie is available on the slideshow.
Fellow Queen, I am here to steal your jewels.
You are here to what?
Yes, steal your jewels.
My goodness gracious. What do you mean?
I will steal your jewels right now, so let me pass.
And no, I will not let you pass to steal my jewels.
Oh yes, you will.
Oh no, I won't.
Oh yes, you will.
Oh no, I won't.
Okay, Queen, you are the boss.
Can you get me a drink of water, please?
No, I will not get you a drink of water. I will put on a dance for you.
That will be great. I will make a beat for you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do you hope to dance with me?
What a pleasure to ask out loud, so let's start dancing.
Would you like me to run ballet?
Yes, please. When does it start?
Today.
Let's start dancing cowboy. You sound rather handsome cowboy.
You sound rather gorgeous yourself. Do you want to marry me?
Yes, I do. When is our wedding?
Tomorrow is our wedding.
But I want to marry you now.
Okay, I will change the orders.
Are the orders changed?
Yes, they are.
Analysis of the digital text. The analysis of this movie as text draws on and combines the work of Buckingham 2007, Hill 2012, and Metcalfe 2013 for our 21st century literacy framework for analysing digital texts. This table presents our 21st century literacy framework. The first 3 columns of the table show the categories from Buckingham, Hill, and Metcalfe. The 4th column is our interpretive synthesis of these categories, which we've used as our 21st century literacy framework. We've only included the categories that prove useful in our analysis of this digital text.
Within Kate's digital text, she was able to organise ideas sequentially and logically. Her narrative has a sequence of ideas with the development of character and of plot. Her language is sophisticated and appropriate. There is evidence of sentence structure and descriptive language. Finally, the mechanics of sound. For example, there is evidence of appropriate use of grammar and punctuation. However, all of this is embedded within a more contextually relevant literacy environment. So rather than disregard traditional forms of literacy, Kate's teacher was embracing such literacy practices, but within a digital context.
Production refers to how the digital literacy piece is put together, the various elements of the text, and how they are developed. In the production of this movie, as Kate demonstrates, her knowledge about various elements of movies, including setting, character, events, gestures, voice, movement, positioning, and movement of characters and music and sound effects. Her knowledge is more than just understanding each of these characteristics in isolation. Kate demonstrates that she understands how they need to work together to allow the audience to understand and make sense of the story.
Kate's movie demonstrates that she is aware of audience, both in terms of who her audience is and how she may take advantage of her audience. The process is set up by the teacher, whereby her peers, teacher and family members have the opportunity to provide feedback, which she used as she edited, modified and improved her movie, demonstrates Kate's understanding of how she can use an audience to improve her text. She also demonstrated an ability to write for an audience.
Metcalfe in 2013 argues that work on film, television and video has the potential to enhance teaching and learning, and explains that the use of the moving image media can help develop children's knowledge, skills and understanding in communication, language and literacy. She discusses how the creation of simple videos can help promote a range of skills, which include acquisition and development of language and vocabulary, appreciation of a wide range of audiences, understanding of narrative structures, characterization and plot, identification of different genres and their associated features. Within Kate's text, it was clear that many of the characteristics Metcalfe suggests as powerful features of digital text were achieved. Kate was able to select images for the background to the writing, select characters with specific looks, for example the Queen and the Cowboy. She demonstrated ability to select gestures for the characters, portray emotions through gestures, for example the Powers with the queen, which therefore positions the cowboys having less power. Kate selected movements for the characters, selected sounds that happen in the background, and also engaged in more traditional literacy practices such as writing a script for the characters and ensuring there is continuity and structure within the narrative.
Kate's teacher adapted her classroom practice and provided opportunities for all her students, including Kate, to incorporate their knowledge, strengths and interests in digital media. Kate's creation of a highly successful and entertaining digital movie demonstrates her skill and understanding of language, production and audience, and the breadth of her knowledge and skills beyond those of print-based texts. As Buckingham explains, most of the creative work that students undertake in school is designed for an audience of one, the teacher as examiner. The way Kate's teacher planned these learning experiences, the audience was widened and made known to Kate. Family, friends and fellow students were encouraged to be Kate's audience. The real audience can qualitatively change how students conceptualise production work and how they actively work and learn in this physical and virtual space.
To be literate in the 21st century, students must be able to make meaning and create from both print-based and digital texts. The Australian curriculum is firmly positioning digital literacy as a necessary and important element of the literacy curriculum. The challenge for educators is not to disregard traditional literacies or to be afraid of the digital landscape. Rather to, as Kate's teacher did, consider what literacy skills and dispositions young people need to be exposed to now and what they may require into the future, and then to craft pedagogical experiences that encourage meaningful and contextually rich opportunities for students to develop such skills. The interpretation and analysis of Kate's digital text has attempted to celebrate her process and the skills she used in her creation. Along with that, it has attempted to alert us to the degree of complexity required to create digital texts. We have seen how the case study teacher created meaningful learning experiences and opportunities for her students, which enacts many 21st century aspects of the Australian curriculum, as well as embracing sound pedagogical practices. Kate's teacher did not view these literacy practices as too complex for an early years student. She was willing to take a risk with literacy teaching practices, and her students reaped the rewards for her bravery. This paper has presented evidence in the form of an inspiring example to demonstrate how some school communities and some teachers are taking up a challenge to bring teaching and learning firmly into the 21st century.